Bookkeeping.com's weekly open session. The Hangout on air is live. Sorry for the slight delay in getting started. We had a few technical difficulties. Shocking with Google Hangouts that we had.
Never happens.
As usual.
Never happens. So,
and Dennis looks like he dressed up for the occasion today.
Yeah, wearing a tie and a sweater.
In about 15 minutes, I'm going to a meeting down in Seattle.
Oh, is this Shelley's? Is that still going on?
No, I'm going with a bookkeeper colleague of mine to there's a bankruptcy attorney, and we're trying to get some tax work from him, so figured I'd put on a shirt and tie.
Well, you look good, Dennis.
Thank you. Say, what did you think about that Zero with H&R Block? It seemed like it was generating a lot of heat on this Sleater blog. Did anybody follow that?
what happened?
Yeah, I read a lot of the comments. It was not very nice.
Zero and H&R Block partnership or working arrangement or whatever. Most of the comments were negative.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. H&R Block and Zero don't have the same customer base. H&R Block does mostly tax returns for individuals. Zero, it caters to business owners. It makes no sense. As soon as I saw that, I was like, what the, you know what?
Apparently H&R Block has 11,000 small business offices across the country, and that's the ones they're concerned about. But it seems to me that someone that goes to H&R Block is probably not going to come to me.
Yeah, and if I go to H&R Block, I'm probably not going to want to be bothered with accounting software like Zero if I'm going to H&R Block to do my business tax returns.
Well, not only that, the employees of H&R Block, how are they going to feel about having to learn Zero and then, you know?
So, I don't know, the partnership, certainly if I were Zero's marketing people on this, I would have made a bigger point of explaining what the benefits of the partnership were, because I think on the surface, to most of us, it makes no sense. Doug, just joining us, what do you think? I mean, we were just discussing, I don't know if you heard, this Zero partnership with H&R Block, to me, makes no sense at all.
Yeah, hang on. I'm actually listening to it because I couldn't get in, and now I got to stop wherever it is.
Yeah.
There, stop it. You know how you can listen on one page and then you can join? All right.
Yeah.
That's why you have two monitors.
And anyway. Well, the H&R Block thing, I think it's, so don't dismiss it so quickly. First of all, there seems to be some of us that are saying, oh, well, they're competing with us for tax work. And I believe if you're competing with H&R Block, if you're really in a business where that hurts you, you're in the wrong business.
I agree. You get a problem.
Yeah. So.
Well, doesn't it seem like it's more of a fear that people are going to be losing business to H&R Block with this, as opposed to, you know, what you're saying? If you're competing with H&R Block.
Yeah, it's fear. It's like somehow there's this taint in the profession against H&R Block. I don't think we should be that way. I think we should say, okay, wait a minute. They have this business model. They have an office in every city. They do taxes for 1040s, and they don't do too many business tax returns. But they've got a pretty strong offering for those folks, and it's got a pretty high net promoter score and all that stuff. So what I'm sure, I'm not speaking for Zero because I didn't even talk to them. I didn't even know they were going to do this. But I would imagine Zero looks at that as a huge distribution channel for a product that actually fits for that small solopreneur who just simply needs to get their bookkeeping done and get away from the shoebox. And if a certain percentage of those H&R Block guys will begin to do bookkeeping service as well, or bookkeeping, use the term loosely, automate the transaction entries for their clients so that at the end of the year they get an electronic shoebox, and frankly they're in their clients more. So yes, they begin to be more like what we all do. But why is that a bad thing? It just means survival of the fittest. That's what happens in a competitive, disruptive market. You're going to find these kind of things happening. And what those of us who've been in the QuickBooks consulting world for all this time, this is another example, is our cheese is moving. And we better get with it because we can't just simply go from client to client every day and enter transactions in their books like we've been able to do for the last 30 years, this kind of stuff comes along and kaboom, a lot of clients go for it. So,
did you see these Carter's comments about cloud accounting and how the profession has been slow to adopt, and that's why it's leaving an opening for like H&R Block to get in?
A couple of your words cut off, so I didn't quite hear.
Okay, it was like Jody, is it Padar, P-A-D-A-R?
Yeah.
She made a comment that people really need to be afraid of people that are cloud accountants rather than H&R Block, because the profession's been slow to adopt cloud accounting, and that's why it's sort of leaving an opening H&R Block to drive a truck through, you know.
Exactly. I think I didn't quite see that post, but I saw another one that she did. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you really want to be fearful, don't fear H&R Block, or don't think that it was a bad move for Xero. They're you know.
Well, my issue with I'm not worried about competition. I've always said, and I still will always say, that there's plenty to go around. I don't think we need to worry about that.
Right.
But when I first saw it, I said, okay, wait a minute. I realized that yes, HR Block does do tax returns for small businesses, but it doesn't seem to be their primary concentration of clientele. Their primary concentration of clientele, to me, seems to be individuals. Yes. And for that matter, individuals with very simple tax returns where they're basically a straight W-2 and not a whole lot of complexity. So how does this make sense for Xero is what crossed my mind. Their market are small business owners, and probably small business owners that are a little more sophisticated than who I would think would typically be using H&R Block to do their tax returns. That's where it didn't make sense to me when I saw it.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense when you think about what H&R Block's old model was. But you're making an assumption that there's not more that H&R Block is going to be doing.
So they're expanding their services to try and pull in more, and Xero can help them do that, and H&R Block can help Xero be more public.
But I think the perception, and it's going to be very hard for H&R Block to get away from this, the perception is always going to be that H&R Block is mass-produced and cheap, and by cheap I mean in terms of the quality of what you're getting, because anything mass-produced is always going to be perceived as cheap. You know, if you know what I mean. When I look at the, you know, when I want my tax, it's sort of like going for plastic surgery, right? When I get my tax returns done, do I want the cheap, quick way? Well, if I think my situation is very simple, fine. But if I'm going for plastic surgery, I don't want the cheap, mass-produced solution. I want the best. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it's going to be very hard for H&R Block to get away from that perception of mass-produced tax returns, not probably a whole lot of personal attention, where somebody is really going to take the time to do the tax planning and really look at your big picture situation and make sure that you're getting the best and most deductions you can possibly get without crossing the line and all of that you normally expect to get from a CPA whose whole specialty is just focusing on you.
Yeah.
Supposedly, H&R Block bought Beyond415.com, which is a website that was kind of like a cloud services. I think Jody Podar mentioned that. There was a blog. There was a post, a big discussion on the Xero page for the announcement, and there was a big discussion on the Sleater blog with Charlie Russell's article.
And I think we need some. I think we need some official clarification on the pronunciation of her name. Is it Padar? Padar?
Padar.
Padar. Okay.
Like dirt.
I have a question. Do you think Xero is thinking about going after the personal market like Quicken?
I mean, maybe they're trying to encourage people to use Xero for their personal finances. I've done videos on how to use QuickBooks for your personal finances. I've been a big fan of that for a long time. So,
yeah. So let me just jump on something you said there, Seth. You're making an assumption that the market, well, I know you're not quite making this, but what you seem to indicate there is that everybody wants the same thing, which is this high level of service from the CPA and all that stuff. And I won't disagree with that, but what I find in all of my life, the surprising thing, and you see it in the QuickBooks market space all the time, there are a lot of different customer types with a lot of different customer demands, with a lot of things that to me don't make sense, but they're happy as clams. Mm-hmm. So you and I can be, because we know so much, we can say, no, you really need this, you don't need that, but they're buying that. So markets grow with people's desires. I mean, why do people eat McDonald's? That stuff is not food. But
it's good.
Because you like it, but it certainly doesn't, treat our bodies well, or it's just not food.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, but they're everywhere and they're visible. And when you're hungry and you need something right now, you go and you drive through.
No, it's fast and convenient.
It
is. And there's a distinction, because when I go to McDonald's, it's because that's what I want. I just want something fast and quick, and frankly, I want some good belly food that's going to make me feel good for about 2 seconds, and then I'm going to feel like garbage afterwards. By contrast, when I take my wife out to dinner on a Friday night, I want to go to a nice restaurant where it's not mass-produced.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's taking pictures of us.
Yeah,
everybody smile.
Yes.
Lots of people.
Yeah, I've used that.
So anyway, we are about up on the time that it has come to start our official demonstration for the day, which is going to be on Smartsheets. Before we go there, does anybody have any last-minute questions or comments on the Xero and H&R Block marriage?
I think we will hit to death.
I'll take that as a no. I will assume we are good to go. So let's do this, as they say. I'm going to share my screen.
I have a couple updates while you're doing that, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So we released, I don't know if you guys heard, but we released our ebook for Cloud Accounting Comparison Series.
Yeah, I got that. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you got it. I noticed you bought it. So thanks, Dennis. It's by Greg Lamb, and it reviews Xero, QuickBooks Online, Cashew, Checkbook, Wave, and FreshBooks, and it categorizes them into different types of products, and then it compares them side by side. If any of you guys want it, let me know. It's a great product if you have to help a client decide which one is best, or maybe you're looking at your own business and you're trying to figure out which tool am I going to use for my cloud accounting business. So.
Yeah, and Doug, congratulations on being written up for that in Forbes. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, there was a Forbes article on it. Yeah, that was really cool. Gene Marks is the guy that does that. He's a great writer. He writes for Forbes and Wall Street Journal now, and a couple of these things, and Accounting Today. So.
Gotcha. All right. So does everybody see my screen? And is my audio still good?
Yep.
I haven't had that problem in a while. So
it's better, and the video's better too.
I'm going to click on my, I've got a much better camera pointed at my screen now. No, I'm just kidding. I am, whatchamacallit? I forgot what I was going to say, but it's not important. We're looking at Smartsheets, right? So if anybody has any questions, if for some reason my screen craps out and you can't see it, just stop me. Okay, because right now on my end, I'm just seeing my logo on what it looks like you would be seeing. But can everybody still see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we're at Smartsheet.com. What is Smartsheet? It's project management software, and I had heard of it a number of times. I know Sarah, when she did her extensive project management research, she'd come across this, and then more recently, Doug, you mentioned to me that you had checked it out, and you said I had to check it out. And I think primarily why you were telling me I had to check it out was because of the similarities in terms of layout to Excel, and knowing that I'm an Excel junkie, I guess you knew it would appeal to me. So what I want to do is I want to unpack this, because I love doing this. I love learning it for myself for the first time right in front of people live. It sort of puts me on the spot. But before I do, Doug, why don't you share a little bit of your experience, because I know you've been using it for a while, and I know yesterday you actually commented in our ABO Facebook group that you have been using it, that you're now using it for everyone. So it must be really good if you've actually adopted it for your company, because I know that doesn't happen easily.
Well, you're right. We're the hardest customers on the earth to make buy into something. So we actually did buy it, and we're using it for the whole team. So to-do lists, from simple to-do lists to projects with multiple steps with dependencies of, this has to happen and the due date is this, and then after that happens, then we can start this. So this Gantt view of a project is there. I think the reason we like it so much is it's a spreadsheet, so there's not too much training. It's pretty obvious what to do. Although I'm looking at my Smartsheet right now, and there's a couple things I don't quite know yet, but so I'm sure Seth will figure it all out in 5 seconds.
Right. And Sarah, you made an interesting comment on Facebook that you learned a new formula. Can you write formulas in Smartsheets? Is that something I need to be looking for?
Yeah, and I just shared. I made a workspace for ABBO and shared 2 samples.
Great.
Once you start looking at Smartsheet, I'd love to show you some of the things that I've come up with.
Absolutely.
Sarah, can you speak louder? It's hard to hear you.
Yeah, it is.
Hard to hear me.
Yeah, imagine that.
Is that better?
Much.
Okay.
Sarah, you're using it a lot?
I've been using it a day and a half, 2 days.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I went down the rabbit hole for hours one night, but when I started my search for something to collaborate with clients and practice management and trying to work on my model for my company moving forward about 18 months ago, maybe even 2 years ago, Smartsheet was the first thing I saw, which got me thinking about all this.
Right.
Since then, I've looked at like 70 different solutions, and all of them are missing something.
Yeah, they are.
And then my husband started using Smartsheet at work, and he said they've improved it a great deal, and you need to look at it again. He's using it for his IT department.
Yep.
And projects and everything. And he was showing me some of the things he was doing. So I got they wouldn't give me another free one because I'd done it before. No. So I went ahead and bought into the lowest level, and within a couple hours I had bought the team.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to wind up, getting the paid version. It's just a question of whether I want to do the full enterprise version, where you have to find out about the custom pricing, or I think the next one down was the $39 a month option. Knowing me, I always want like the best. So.
Well, you can go up and down. You can go up and down, and they prorate it. So.
Right. So, and by the way, I didn't realize we had a few new faces in here this morning, but what I didn't realize that one of those new faces is Travis, who actually works for Smartsheets.
Oh, no!
Yes. So, hello, everyone.
And hi, Travis.
Oh, you're going to actually show us who you look like.
Yes.
Oh, well, then you should be the one that should be leading.
Wow!
So now, and that's, I think, what we'll do in a second, but what I wanted to mention was, see, Travis, in a way, without realizing it, has burst my bubble here because I cheated. I went in yesterday under Nerd Enterprises, and I took a free trial there just to make sure I didn't make a complete fool of myself in going through it. And so I have some idea, and Travis, of course, I'm sure by default when I signed up, reached out to me and said, hey, if you have any questions, kind of introductory email. And I wrote back to him because he asked the question, which was very smart. Essentially, what problem are you trying to solve? What made you want to check out Smartsheet? And so I wrote back to him telling him the truth, saying, well, I'm going to be unpacking this in front of everyone for the first time, learning it, making a fool of myself, and in the process I did this, and I gave him the link to the event for today's Hangout. So, Travis, I'm very pleasantly surprised and flattered as hell that you've joined us. So you know what? Let's shift gears. As long as you're here, you work for the company, you know the product better than anyone here, I'm sure. Why don't you take the ball and share your screen and give us the rundown of Smartsheet?
Oh, that's not fair, Seth. He may not know how Google Hangouts work.
Well, I know how Google Hangouts works. I'm actually I am working right now, so I'm having both.
Oh, okay. All right, then. No problem.
Half paying attention to both these things. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Perfect. I'm going to jump in then. So, and I like everybody, especially for the sake of those who've never seen this before, to really see the whole experience. So I'm going to start by taking the free trial using my schoolofbookkeeping.com domain. So set that school of book. But Travis, if you ever can, or anyone there can ever come back and give us a demo direct from somebody from Smartsheet, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, we give live webinars twice a week, every Tuesday and Wednesday. And you can sign up for them on smartsheet.com/webinars. And they're free. like basic functionality and some more advanced functionality, depends on which ones you go to.
Right. And look, I love how fast this is. It's like the instant I hit the button, after submitting my email address, the email appears. There's no wait. Have you ever had that happen where you sign up for a free trial and it takes sometimes like 15 minutes before you get the email to confirm and you're sitting there waiting? This is like instant. It's almost like they knew I was going to sign up before I did. So I'm clicking the confirmation, of course. And now I get this tab. And so I have to create a password. So probably should do that off screen.
You guys see that I'm also showing my content on my screen from a Smartsheet that we're doing. We've got several projects across the top here. So you're going to be building one, but we started with our spreadsheet view of all these different things that have to happen and when. So we're going to go down each one of those, I'm sure, when Seth gets set up.
So your calendar, Doug, it looks like Outlook?
Well, yeah, and it actually can sync with Outlook. I don't think I'm doing that, though.
I saw iCal stuff. I did not see Outlook.
Publish iCal. I think maybe that's what Travis...
So the iCal option, if you look down at the bottom, it says iCal, and you turn that on, you'll get an ICS link, and you can put that URL into any program that supports that type of file. So Mac, iCal does, Outlook does, and pretty much any calendar application you might use will support that type of file.
Was it this, Travis?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, Google will support that, but there's actually a direct Google integration, which is right above that on the left-hand side. You can publish right to your Google Calendar.
Ah, that's perfect. I was going to ask you about Google, so I'm glad you...
Seth is happy.
That makes me very happy. Okay, so here we are on the initial screen that I get to now that I've taken the free trial. As you just saw, it's seamless, it's instant, and that caters to somebody like me because I have no patience. When I'm doing something like this, I'm moving at 150 miles an hour, and I need everything lightning fast. And if it's not lightning fast, I quickly get frustrated and I go away. So
it says it's one of your superpowers now.
That's right. So I have a new superpower.
That's right.
Well, these are the 5 superpowers, reasons why we'll love Smartsheet. And I was going to ask about the mobile app. I haven't had a chance to check that out, so it's good to see that there is one. So we'll have Sarah, clue us in about that. I did play around a bit with the web forms. I love that feature. And then linking cells and running reports. I guess that's where the formulas come in that Sarah talked about. So, and then I guess we should have, that's 3. We should have 2 more that I missed 2 here. So right here, it just gives you the overview of what you can do. But since we're here live, let's just dig right in.
Question. Before you go any further, I don't know if I emailed you an invite on, which is this Smartsheet. I did to Doug, but you said you had you have 2 Smartsheet accounts. Oh, there it is. There you never mind. You see it.
Well, it's on my screen.
Oh, that's your screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Seth, I need to invite you.
So this is the sheet that you invited us to.
Yeah, I used Nerd Enterprises. I need another email.
Oh, for Seth at School of Bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And notice it's got a formula in here.
I want to show you all kinds of things.
Very Excel-like.
Cool.
You're going to love this, Seth. You are Mr. Excel, so...
Oh, I know I am.
You're going to, break
it. Again, if you're used to doing really complicated formulas, you may find that it's a little frustrating, too.
It's going to drive Eric crazy. Eric is my partner on schoolofbookkeeping.com, and he already says I have an app addiction. And this is definitely going to feed that addiction, I'm sure.
You have app ADD.
Well, that too.
But I share that with you, so that's...
So here we are, and right from the outset, I have options here to create all kinds of new. I can do a blank. I can start with a project. I can start with a task list. Here's the web form. I can import from either Microsoft Project, Excel, or a Google spreadsheet. I can get a blank report. So most of this, I think, as I'm looking at it, is pretty straightforward in terms of what does what. And I thought what I would do to start with is start with a task list, just something nice and simple, right? So here what it's doing is these, I guess it's giving us kind of an overview of what each of these is. So you click on the type of project that you can create, and it gives you a description and an illustration of what that's all about. If I go over here to my Home tab, that's where I can really kind of get started. And right off the bat, it starts giving me tips and kind of giving me the lay of the land in terms of where I go to do what, which is great. Very, very helpful stuff. So I'm going to close this for now. Although I would love to spend the hour just reading tips to you. I think you guys would really enjoy that. Now, I can add my name here, right? So, Seth, what's my name?
Davis.
So now if I go to create new, again I get the tips, and I'm going to leave them on because they're helpful, and since I am new to this myself, I want those tips for now, so I'm not going to turn them off.
No, they're great.
I can browse here, and you know what I'm looking for, Travis, maybe you can help me with this. When I did this yesterday, I got a different kind of screen where I could kind of pick from the list of types of projects.
Right. So we're doing an A/B test for a new template gallery, and what you're seeing right now is the newer version. You probably saw the older version.
Yeah, I must have. Okay, so let's go to project and create sheet. So either that or I'm special, and I got added to the new beta.
Did you see my sheets? You're going so fast. Back up. Go back to your home page.
Oh, hold on. Let me finish this part.
Okay.
Hey, Seth?
Yes?
For the visually impaired, is it possible to...
enlarge my screen?
Yes, please.
Yes. Just give me 1 second. So now I'm getting more tips because I just created the new project, using a basic task list. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out a project that's nice and simple for creating a blog post and a video in my usual fashion, right? So it's giving me some tips here, and I'm sure Travis can help us get back to the tips if and when I want to see them. For Sarah's sake, I'm going to go back to Home, and here's Abo Workspaces that Sarah has evidently shared with us. So if I close tips again.
Good. Now I can see what the client will see.
Right. And now this is cool because it shows me all the people that the workspace is shared with.
Mm-hmm.
Eric is here.
So, and Eric has joined us today, and he's got Jackson with him.
Hey, Jackson.
Hey, Jackson.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Huh?
Say hi, Jax.
Hi.
Hi, Jackson.
I heard my name on the broadcast, so I figured I'd jump in. I have an allergy eye thing going on right now, so I didn't want to hang out on video too long, but I wanted to say good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody.
Awesome. We're going to go back to watching anonymously. You guys are doing a fabulous job. Thank you so much for this. We're tweeting out there, so if you guys want to jump in, have a little fun with us, okay?
At School of Books on Twitter.
Go. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and by the way, just for the record, we have more live viewers than we've ever had on a Hangout before.
It's a very popular program.
I just blasted it this morning.
Cool.
Seth, is your screen permanent on the video?
I took it off for Eric, and then I just put it back on mine.
Oh, okay, okay. Because mine's jumping around. I don't know what you're...
Oh, well, click on him, and it'll stay for you.
Well, I know. I was concerned that it wasn't recording.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, and so now I'm zooming into my browser, but it doesn't seem to be working.
It doesn't like you to have your browser zoomed in. It'll throw error messages about every 5 minutes.
All right, never mind.
It's not fully supported. Okay, so they really kind of want you to be at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got to jump off soon anyway, so no worries.
We will comply. So let's go back to blog post and video. Doug, you're about to say something?
I'm zoomed some. It doesn't seem to. Well, there was, I guess, a complaint, but anyway.
All right, so let's start this task list. So the first thing I need to do when I'm writing a blog post is write outline.
Which you could paste right in from Excel. If you had a bunch in Excel already, just copy paste and it goes.
Copy and paste it. So write the outline, write the blog content. Okay, record the video, edit the video, So I'm just going down the list just to get the tasks laid out. So edit the video, review the video, publish video as unlisted, publish blog with video embedded, and then change video status to public. Okay, so these would be the basic tasks that I would want to lay out in the process of doing, the way I do it, a complete blog post with the video all set in. So here's what we're going to do now. I am going to add in a column. So let's insert one left.
You right-clicked.
I right-clicked. That's correct. Okay, and then do I want a contact list? What I really want is I want a column where I can assign the task to somebody. So, because yesterday I thought that came in by default. Now I don't see the column for assigning the task. So, somebody's right is here.
Well, wait a minute. You're inserting a column, not assigning a task. So,
well, I want to insert the column where I can assign the task, right? Because there's an assignment column.
Right. Just say
enter a contact list column.
Yeah.
Oh, so it is a contact list. That's what I thought. I wasn't 100% sure. Okay, so contact list. Okay, perfect.
Name your column.
So rename, right?
Double click.
That's right. Rename.
Or double click.
No, not double click.
Fourth one down.
Double click on a cell, but not.
Double click worked. So task assigned.
Huh. Why?
Assigned. If I could type. Task assigned to. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to add somebody, right? So I'm going to add new. And let's add Doug Sleater. Because he's going to write our outline for it. Doug@Sleater.com.
So they don't have to be shared already?
No, I was playing with this yesterday. I can go right in here and add the user. And I imagine Doug will now get an invite letting him know that I've...
I don't know, Travis. What happened when he just did that?
It's not going to automatically let them know that they were assigned to a task.
But are they shared? Is this sheet now shared with them, or is
No,
that...
you'll have to actually go down to the sharing tab and share it with them.
That is two completely different functions.
Right,
Sharing
correct.
sheet
Right.
And me track. That's nice.
So
Okay.
share it. Share it, Seth.
Okay, so share to Doug, and it remembers you now, so that's good.
And now, yeah, permission.
Okay, so
Admin. Okay.
Right.
over here, change permissions. So he's defaulted to admin. I could make him an editor or a viewer, which means that as editor he could still change things, but he wouldn't have full admin privileges. As viewer, all he could do is look at it.
And admin.
Yeah, I think I can only everything but delete.
Because we pay by sheet. We have to track. We have to make sure we keep our sheets under our plan. That's part of the.
Oh, so in the pricing, you mean you pay for each sheet that you create?
No, but like at my admin level, I'm allowed so many sheets.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And here's that sheet.
Okay, so while I'm here, let me share this to a few other people. Sarah, what email should I use?
At asbinc.net.
Oh, you haven't saved it.
Oh, I haven't saved the sheet?
Yeah, it should automatically save every now and then, but that's a setting too.
I turned off automatically save because I wanted a chance to go, whoa, I just screwed up the sheet, never mind.
You can still
if
undo.
If you say automatic, it's saved.
Okay.
Well, we decided to put autosave on because it's too dangerous to actually do all this work and not having
Yeah,
save.
it'll warn you every 10 minutes, so there is a 10-minute window.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm adding Joanne. And Joanne's email I had marked because she told me yesterday she was going to play with us. Share. Okay, so we've got Doug, we've got Joanne, we've got Sarah, we've got me. Anybody else?
Travis, if he makes somebody an admin and they're allowed to make a sheet, then it goes on Seth's account, right?
So there's kind of two different things that are going on here. Sharing permissions on a sheet is different than your account status. So you can be an admin on a sheet, but you might not necessarily be able to create sheets. So only members of your paid plan, so like you're on a team plan, so only licensed users of your team can create sheets.
Okay, then what's the difference between admin and editor?
Editors can't delete columns, they can't change column properties, they can't edit locked rows or locked cells, and a couple other things.
But they can add columns and things like that.
No, they can't add columns. They can add new rows.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of limited in what they can do. And the admin pretty much just can do anything in the sheet except they can't delete it.
Got it. Okay.
Got it.
Got it. Okay.
So now Doug is in here, and he's adding dates, and he's going to show us how to do the dependencies. Right. So I'm switching over to Doug's screen now.
So I've been just doing some things like number one, I put some headers in, and so writing the outline is this, and I didn't even notice what maybe this is development instead of.
Well, wait a minute, Seth. If we stay on your screen, couldn't we see live him making changes to this sheet?
I don't see them updating to my
Refresh yours, you'll see it. Because I saved. It's my experience. So, Seth, you're all about Google Sheet. It is not nearly as zippy as that. You don't see my little cursor going around and all that stuff.
Right. But I did get a notification that you were editing the sheet. I saw a pop-up that said Doug Sleater is editing the sheet. So that's cool. At least I know you're in there.
Right. I noticed that it already is populating my calendar. Look at the calendar view. See over on the left?
Yep.
There's a calendar icon.
For just this sheet.
For just this sheet, right?
Right.
See,
now, Doug, I didn't see how you did it. How did you create the subtasks? So how did you get the subtask within development? Let me switch over to your screen.
Okay. On my screen, where I was here is I wanted to create, let's say I wanted to make this a subtask of this. You could do this and just say indent or Control K or outdent. Now it's its own major. So it's kind of like it's better than Excel because Excel you have to do the outlining, and that's, well, I suppose if you know how to do it, it's easier. But this is just like all right here.
Mm-hmm. It's a child parent all within the same cell.
Yep.
That's sort of cool. You don't have to make it a separate column for your.
And yeah, you can do that in Excel with the formatting features. And sometimes you want that, and sometimes you actually want it in a separate column because of how you want to be able to sort or play with it. It's nice to have it really part of the same column because for sorting purposes that helps a lot. Okay, perfect. So now I noticed if I want to create the dependencies, then I have to, yesterday when I was doing it, I had to enable that if I remember correctly somewhere.
Right, I had a dependency view. No, actually, it just looks look in the PERT chart. You'll see the dependencies are. Oh no, I know.
There's a couple ways you can enable dependencies. In your Gantt chart in the top left, see that little gear icon?
That guy right there.
Over on the right, yeah.
No, not that.
I got it on mine.
Yep.
Okay.
And just in that menu right there is where you would enable them. But it looks like it's already turned on for the sheet.
Okay, dependencies enabled, perfect. So then I think we had to have a column for that, though, right?
It should automatically add any column that you needed when you enabled them.
I thought it did lines here, Travis.
Because I remember yesterday when I was playing with this, what I had to do is I had to pick the row number. So like row 2 I could say is dependent on row 1. And I want to show this because it comes out really cool. So there was a column where I had to actually assign the dependency number. So I think I do need...
It's going to be your predecessor column. So I think if you scroll over to the right a little bit, you might see that column.
Oh, right. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. So here it is. So I can, and pretty much the way I laid these out was in order. So I can actually, and I can resize the calendar part for a minute so that I can access this a little more easily and see everything at once. So over here I can say, well, I can't record the video till the blog content's written, so I put in a number 2 there. And in order to do that, of course, there has to be, 2 dates, a start and a finish date, in order for the dependencies to work. I ran into that yesterday as well, and that makes sense. And then, of course, so from here I can just keep kind of following suit. I can say 4 is dependent on 3. Right? Now 6 would be dependent on 4. Or could I say 6 is dependent on 1? So in other words, everything under development has to be finished before 6 can be done.
Yeah, sure.
So I would just put a 1 in there, and it would put in that dependency for me. And you see what it's doing? This is what I love about this, is because most of us are very visual. And you see what it does? It draws the lines. And it says, okay, this can't be done until all this is completed.
Yeah. You should save that. We're actually out of sync.
All right, let me save.
I don't know what's going to happen.
There, I just saved it, and actually it updated the other dependency lines, which is really cool.
Okay. Yep, that was exactly. Now I'll refresh, and I'll get. So this is where you got to be careful if 2 people are really working on it, because my screen was really out of date from yours.
Right.
We both saved, maybe. Well, if you save but the other guy doesn't refresh, then you can get in trouble there. So it's not like a Google Sheet.
Right. It's not 100% real time. I get that. So, all right. So let's say that so Doug Sleeter's in charge of the whole development area, but now I want Joanne to take over writing the blog content. Joanne, you should have gotten your invite for this.
Yep, I did.
Okay, and then I'm going to record and edit the video, right? And then Doug is going to review the video.
I made Sarah be the reviewer.
Oh, okay. See, now this will be interesting because I put you put Sarah.
Yeah.
And so what happens when we get a conflict? When you and I, because I made you the reviewer, you made Sarah the reviewer.
I already saved it. So
I just saved mine. I'm going to refresh now, and let's see who wins. And then, Doug, refresh yours.
It's going to be whoever saved most recently will have their data in there.
Got it.
If you go into that cell that you both edited, right-click in it.
Yeah, look at the
select
history.
View history.
There's this.
That's a good. That's a good feature. Look at history.
Yeah. I said this, but I haven't refreshed yet, so.
Okay, so go ahead and refresh, Doug, and you'll see I think I've overridden yours.
Yep.
But I like that. So yeah, I'm back on my screen. I've got the view history, so it shows now. I guess it doesn't look like there's a way though to say, you know what, take Doug Sleeter's change over mine.
No, it's whoever saved most recently.
Okay, so at this point, I would just contact you, Doug, and say, hey, I assigned you, but I guess you want Sarah to do it, so I'll just change it to Sarah.
Right.
So now you change it to Sarah again, and then save it.
Well, this is line 6?
Yeah, the review the video.
Okay, all right.
So change it to Sarah, and then save yours.
There's also a cool feature where you could highlight that row, email him, and say, could you update this, please?
So, of course, you know what the solution to this is do it while you're in a private Google Hangout, and then collaborate.
Right.
Well, actually, there's legs there in the sense that, if you're working on a project with somebody, then you just get in here and maybe you can take that top half of the sheet and you kind of decide who's doing what, and the other person down at the bottom half of the sheet, you can really make it go faster.
Mm-hmm. How about a budget? We could have a budget meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now here's a question.
If we have a budget meeting, can I export it to Excel, or I can only export it as a PDF? Travis?
Oh yeah, you can export this as a PDF, Google spreadsheet, Excel, Microsoft Project. You can export just to Gantt as an image. So you have a few options.
That's awesome because we couldn't use Google Docs for budgeting.
Okay, so now
huge tool for that.
One thing I want to be able to look at now is now that we've got some tasks and we've got some people assigned to the tasks, where do I go to see who's doing what from that point of view? I want to be able to look at all my collaborators and see who's doing what so I can make a determination about who's got time in their schedule to add more tasks to.
Okay. Well, there is a resource management feature, so you can kind of allocate how much a person is assigned to a task, like if they're 10% on this project, 100% on this project for these days, and you can kind of see all your users and all their allocations across all the projects.
Okay, so how do I do that?
First, you'll need to turn this trial into a team trial.
You have to buy it.
You can test it on the trial.
Okay, so where do I go? Do I click upgrade?
Account. Go to the account button.
I've got a full account. Does that matter?
Is it a team plan?
Yeah, but Doug, if you do it, we'll probably see all the Sleater team. And
stuff, yeah.
Well, that's fine. I mean, what do we?
Okay.
It's being recorded for YouTube.
Well, let me go through this though, because other people might want to know how to do the team trial. So, Travis, go ahead and
go to account admin.
Okay.
And, oops, I don't see your screen anymore.
All right, let me unclick and click it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have plan and billing info.
Go to user management.
All right.
And just add a user. It can be anyone. It could be even a fake email address. And when you do that, it'll automatically jumpstart your team trial.
Okay, so I'll just add Doug. It appears that you entered an email address. Please enter a name for your organization. Oh, the account setup.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is cool.
SOB.
I love that.
Somebody replied to one of our emails that Eric sent out. I guess, for lack of a better word, the person may have been a bit of a stick in the mud. I guess they didn't realize that we had a sense of humor about it, and they replied saying, "You might want to rethink that acronym."
Yep. Bye, Tina. Oh, she already left.
Yeah, she's long gone.
Like 20 minutes ago.
All right, so licensed user. So that means that'll cost me for adding a licensed user when I get to a paid plan, right?
Right, and the basic team plan will allow you to have 3 licenses. But any plan will allow you to have an unlimited number of free collaborators and free users.
You could have made him just a system admin, right?
Yeah,
well, no. Can create no sheets.
Well, no, it didn't let me add Doug because Doug's already on his own account. So I'm just going to add Eric.
That's why, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this is a team trial, they'll have to be new users. So they can't already have a Smartsheet account.
So with a paid account, I can add Doug if I wanted?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now I've just added Eric in.
Yeah.
So Eric, if
make
you're watching at home,
a resource viewer. Oh, you are one. You are one. Okay, so go ahead and log out of Smartsheet and log back in. You should see the resource view.
Okay. Close account, sign out.
Yeah, because that's just a one-time setup thing to. Yeah, okay. There's Lastpass.
I didn't save it in Lastpass yet.
I'm switching to Lastpass.
Got it.
I can find that'll copy over all my passwords from Password Corral.
I don't know about that, but it will upload any passwords you saved in your browser, which proves that if you're saving passwords in your browser, some random thing out there can go grab them.
Right. No, that's why I always say never for this site when the browser asks me, but notice I'm adding it to LastPass now.
Yep.
Oh, that's good to know.
It's like unbelievably bad to save passwords in your browser.
Boom. So now here's my resource management. So now I can see Eric and myself, but what about seeing the other users that I've added to Sheets?
You can only see the resources for members of your team, whether they're free users or paid users.
I see. So I'd have to add them as members of my team, which I can only do if they already have their own account with a paid account.
Yeah, so when you're in your trial, you can only add new users to your team, but if you had a paid plan, you'd be able to add any of these users.
Well, what if you don't want that person? What if you're trying to schedule somebody who isn't part of your company?
Well, once you have a paid account, you can do it all. That's the point. Is because I'm on a free trial, I can't add users who have their own
free
account.
or paid, you have to they have to be members of your team in order to be resources.
That's the thing. I would never be a member of your team.
Mm.
I have my own business. I have my own team members. You have your business. You're going to pay for a team plan with your team. That has so.
But Sarah, if I have a paid account and you have a paid account and you and I are collaborating on something, I guess I would have to add you as a team member on my account so that I can see your resource management part, at least to the extent that you and I are sharing projects.
How would you do that, Travis?
Yeah, if you guys are on different teams.
Subcontracted a job to me, and he wants to see how busy I am or something.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have to be part of the same team to see that resource allocation with them. A workaround might be to just add maybe like a new email address, kind of like a fake account to track that sort of thing. But at this point,
pay for it, Seth. You're going to pay by how many.
So I would have to, Sarah, I would have to give you an email address at schoolofbookkeeping.com and then add you under that account as a team member.
And it can be a free user. You can have an unlimited number of free users in your team account.
Okay. And then, so the free users, as long as my account is paid for, I can see them in the resource management.
Yep, correct.
Okay, now I got it. So that's what you'd have to do, Sarah. If you're collaborating with somebody who also happens to have a Smartsheet account, then you have to set up an email address for them on your own domain. In theory, that's the way to do it. And then add them as a user under their email with your domain. So that's the workaround, I guess.
Okay.
So, Travis, how come I don't see resource views like he does?
Yeah, I do.
Go to account.
Sarah, I want to see your formulas.
Account admin.
Account admin.
Are you not a sysadmin on the account?
Pretty sure I am.
If you were, you should see the user management pane right there. I can actually look up your account right now if you'd like. What's your email address?
Doug@sleater.com.
I've got my login history, account settings.
And on my resource view, I don't see my time, even though I've been assigned tasks.
Doug, you are not a sysadmin on the team plan.
Wow, I'm going to have to talk to my boss.
So
doing that on purpose.
Yeah, so back to the resource management. Once you have it, now that you have it enabled for your account, you're going to need to enable it for the actual sheet. So if you want to open up the sheet.
Okay, so I go to the sheet. Or actually, it's here, blog post and video.
That's a shortcut.
And go to your dependency settings, which is that little gear icon in your Gantt chart.
Here.
Yep, and go to resource management.
Okay.
Resource management enabled.
Yep. And you should choose a column for your allocation percent, because if you don't, it's going to automatically allocate you 100% for each one of these tasks. But if you have an actual column for that, then you can say, maybe I only want 50% or 25%.
So the only choice I have there is comments.
Right. So you can either make a new column or just use the comments column. It has to be a text number column in your sheet.
Yeah, I have to create a column for that. Okay.
So I'm a little lost on that. I would think that it would show me percent complete based on total number of tasks assigned and which ones I've marked completed somehow. So what am I missing? I'm not sure I'm clear on that.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, and look, there was an assigned to column, so I can delete this since I created my own. In other words, I'm not clear on how that... oh, never mind. I'm not clear on how that works with the percent complete. So I would have to... All right, so let me add a column, right, to deal with that.
Yeah, percent complete is different than percent allocated.
Okay.
So percent allocated is just how much of your time you are allocating for that task, and percent complete is how much of that task is complete.
Okay, so I would have. You said it has to be a text or number type of column. Okay, so I add a text or number type of column.
Good boys, huh? Mr. Wild, good boys this morning.
Somebody's talking to their animal.
Somebody's
talking to my dog. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm seeing them though, Joanne. You're all blanked out.
Oh, sorry.
So allocation status, let's call it, I guess.
But what would you put there? You'd have to feed that in.
So I have to manually feed. It's not going to figure it out for me based on tasks assigned and tasks complete.
No, because you're going to be telling it how much each one of your resources are working on a project. Like, so how much is Doug working on development, or how much is Seth working on recording the video? If it's 100% of their time or only 50% of their time.
I see. Okay.
Seth, I don't know if you really think you would use this, but I'm not really sure you will. Here's
No,
why.
what I was looking for, and I guess this doesn't really do it, is something that would show me, okay, Seth, first of all, in kind of a Gantt chart format, when I go to resource, I'm just going to say, I'll say save on this for now. But if I go here to the resource page, what I would want to see is, as long as I've been assigned tasks on a certain day, I would want to see something show up there to show that I'm busy on those days. And then what I'd want to be able to do, ideally, and I know I had talked about this with Sarah a while back, is I would want to be able to look at my team and essentially be able to determine, okay, I have a new project or a new task within a project that I need to assign to somebody. And so my question would be, who's got time in their schedule? I would love to be able to look at a screen like this and see very clearly that, you know, Doug has time. Let me give that task to him.
So Travis, can you take us through reports? I think he needs reports, doesn't he?
Reports could do that. Reports isn't going to show you like a Gantt chart or a calendar view. It'll just be the actual rows from the sheets.
You're looking for a Gantt chart for the whole team versus a Gantt chart for that sheet.
You can create a master Gantt chart for to show across all your projects, and you use cell linking to set that up.
Yeah. So leave it to Seth to dive into the most complicated sheet.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course.
He knows.
Are we going to have time?
We'll all figure
Yeah,
out.
I mean, we're, you know.
Gina, what was that?
Time for you, Sarah? Sarah had some formulas she wanted to show us.
All right, so Sarah, go, because we're almost out of time. Technically, we're out of time, but go ahead and show us quickly.
Well, you know, go back to your sheet.
Oh, you want me to do mine?
Yeah, because we're all sharing.
Okay, so let me screen share again. All right, so I'm on my sheet. I'll go to the ones that you've created.
Now, my needs for Smartsheet were a little different than y'all's in that Doug is trying to use Smartsheet for his own company, and I'm trying to track clients. So I've had to workspace each client, and then I'm sharing each workspace, and
with them.
And so I've learned, like, if I have a worksheet. See, I have a weekly AP. I had to put the initials of the company in there because when I was getting reports and things like that, I couldn't tell which client I was looking at. But I have two needs right away for a client. This is a client who has they send me their bills once a week, and we also do their payroll. So when they send me the batch of all their bills, they need multi-level authorizations. And so they came up with a really simple way to do this without going to bill.com and things like that. If you'll click on my the weekly AP sheet, they came up with just a real simple, and I've elaborated on it, real simple sheet to be the cover sheet, the transmittal to that big stack of bills. So the PDF could have 50, 100 pages in it, and they had this old Excel on the top that was really simply the vendor, a memo, how much, and they would separately send that to the treasurer and say, is it okay for my company, I'm the outsourced service bureau, to enter this badge. And so she was actually printing it, signing it, rescanning it back, then they're adding, I mean, it's just been nuts. And then we've had a big communication problem where once we get the batch, then we have questions and everything's buried in emails, and this has been my number one thing.
Really? And this is because you don't want to afford Bill.com or what?
They're not interested. And so this is a very simple way to work with the treasurer and me have little conversations. You can have a conversation on a row. You can have a conversation on the whole sheet. So what I was going to do was I did a couple cool things. If you look at the vendor name, I went to QuickBooks and I exported the vendor list, copied and pasted it into a text file, and made that vendor name a drop down.
Nice.
So
Nice.
the first thing she has, instead of just freehand typing the vendor name, she starts typing it's there. The benefit of that is if it's not there, she goes, oh, wait, this is a new vendor for my QuickBooks file. And she can click on the star and say this is new, and then I need to know, look at the drop-down buttons.
Yeah.
Seth, go look at the drop-down buttons on, let's just real
On the
quickly
vendor
go
column.
through the columns. The vendor name is a drop-down.
Vendor column.
Click
Set.
on Spectrum Printing.
Not there, but down Spectrum.
So you set this up as a drop-down type.
There you go.
Yeah, see
On
the
that
cell?
view.
Okay, there's my vendor list, okay? Then the next one, view new vendor. Go to the next line down where Smith John, all right? She didn't find Smith John, but she could hand type Smith John. It was like the drop-down was a suggestion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now go to the next one. I came up with a little drop-down for the W9.
Right.
Okay, now go up to Smith. Where are you?
I'm all over the place.
I know you are. See, yes, look at the drop down for W9. Is the W9 attached? I have the W9. I doubt it. Hold for a W9. In other words, I can post it, but I'm not going to cut the check until I get the W9. Pay without a W9, and I'm going to want a little discussion. What's nice about the discussion is it'll timestamp and name stamp who told me it's okay to do it, which means the treasurer or whatever, and if they're exempt, okay? So then, get out of there.
I wanted to show the discussion.
Okay. And then put in the amount, and what I did was, because I don't want them to have to insert and worry about that, I put the grand total up at the top, I bolded it, I was playing with colors. They do a quick little memo for the treasurer. Okay, I had the default as okay to pay. So the treasurer, who is a big traveler, she's on her iPad, okay, or she's at work. She pulls up her app on the iPad. The first problem I had was you can't have the primary column be a lookup column. So the iPad and the list view didn't work, but the grid worked beautifully. She can come in, she can read this. We're going to assume everything's okay to pay, but if she's got a problem, and it works better on the iPad than it does on the desktop. On the desktop, if you click on what I was going to do is on that top row where it says 84,000 over to the left, that's where the PDF of all the bills would be. If you're on the iPad and you click on it, boom, there's all her bills that she can scroll through.
Yeah.
So I pretended I'm like, John Smith, do not post or pay. Those are instructions for me. There's a comment. I think when I copied the sheet over to ABBO, I lost all my comments and things like that. But you can email comments, and now I've got a trail of issues. So, John Jones, and then the treasurer came in and said, whoa, I don't know why is your brother getting 50 grand, So what I wanted was a real simple way to, one, send me my work on a weekly basis, track discussions on bills and the authorization on a very quickly way, in a format that the client's been doing for many years. I don't want to. They've got their little system, and this system actually works awesome as Smartsheets. One feature I'm desperate for, though, is if you email somebody a comment and they respond, it doesn't come back to Smartsheet. It just stays in your email. They actually have to open up Smartsheet and respond in here. So I'm hoping that that's on. That, I mean, there are a lot of programs that'll do that, so I'm surprised that it's not there. But so that one didn't have. So we're going over a little bit. Go to the other sheet. So anyway, that was the cool thing I did with the vendor name there. And I can have my staff insert new vendors as well at will, or I can just cut and paste and replace that vendor list periodically. All right, this client, I had to hide all the names. They send me a spreadsheet that recaps all the timesheets. So what I did is I take a master list of the employees, and here's the odd thing about this client was they have employees that may work every couple months. Okay, so they would send me a list of everybody that's getting paid and the timesheets attached, and they would put it up on share file, which means you can't share the file, or we're uploading and downloading. But what if they forgot a sheet? So I want them to see every single employee that's active in QuickBooks, and we've been going around and around and around about, I know people have moved, they're never going to work again, and I can't get my paperwork. So I did a couple things on this sheet. One, and that date of last check I'm going to delete. I'm going to demo this to them. I pulled in all the employees' dated last check, and because that'll be that's going to be stale for this purposes. But I'm going to make a master sheet of all the employees, and then I had to do a couple things. One, I'm making like the first row as more of an informational type idea for the whole sheet, and we can talk later about why I think I have to do that. But I wanted a cell. Double click on the 17. The cell, yeah. Okay. I hid a column with some formulas in it, and I want to see if you can open it up and see those formulas. But I hid it from the client that counts who's getting a paycheck, so I know I have to do 17 paychecks. Okay.
It looks like there's an extra column in here, maybe.
Right. Can he if he's a admin, and he's not admin, as a editor, can he unshow those fields?
No. Editors cannot unhide.
All right. Now, if I do it over here.
Yeah, it would be here, but it's grayed out.
Okay, so let me unhide, and then save, and then you...
Oh, this is cool, though. It tells me now that you've made changes, and I have to hit refresh to see your updates, so that's good.
Okay. Cool. All right. See, okay, so see the check count? I have it locked. Can you double-click on that 1 and see the formula?
Which one?
On the first John Smith. His result came back a 1, no time came back a 0. If you double click on that, no, not the hours. Go to the check count column.
The check count, oh, there.
It has a little lock. Double click on the 1.
It says the cell is on a locked column and can only be edited by the sheet owner and admin.
Yeah.
Okay,
But if you hover over it, you can kind of see the formula.
Yeah, but it's so light. Okay, I just took it off. So you could actually change my formula if you don't mess up my formula. All right, so now refresh again.
Refresh.
The lock is off. Now double click on it and it'll show you the formula.
Okay, so you do have some pretty sophisticated formula writing then, if you can do like if-then conditional type stuff.
So there's formatting conditionals that you can do. See, we need to have another hangout because that whole toolbar over to the left has some really cool stuff in it. There's also, do this, in the templates, there is a template that contains all kinds of sample formulas, and go ahead and save that template into your sheet so you can have that as a quick reference.
Gotcha.
I've learned a lot in 2 days.
Okay, cool. Well, then, yeah, we'll definitely have to revisit this. I do have to run, though, because I was supposed to be on another call at 9 o'clock. So, but this is great. Travis, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
Hey, Gina, do we have a topic for tonight?
Smartsheet?
Just whatever happens. It is what it is. You never know what you're going to get.
You know, we could play with this if you feel like it.
Okay. Not a
All
problem.
right. So Gina's Hangout, of course, 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. And we'll see you all next week here at the same nerd time, 8 a.m. Pacific, Friday. I'll talk to you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.